All right, good morning. Well, Jesus taught the power of our word. He said, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples. It seems to me that there is a potency of an idea that when you and I hold that idea in mind, and when we continue to hold it in mind and we think about it, and we see it, and we start to speak it, that there's a real potency. There's a power there. So I don't know what it is for you right now, but I'm sure that there is some idea that you are holding in mind right now at this moment, maybe for this week or this month that we've been having, that there's something that you're holding. And what the science of mind teaches us is that what we think about, what we focus on, increases. Right? So you're telling the universe that this is what you want to demonstrate in your life. So if what you're thinking about is, oh my God, I'm so old, you're telling the universe, I will have a double helping of that. Okay? And if you're telling the universe, I'm awake and I'm alive and I'm enthusiastic, you're telling the universe, yes, I'll have a double helping of that. I have a cup and saucer at home that somebody gave me years ago. I love it. I see it every morning. And it has a quote by Noel Coward on it. And it says, I am determined to go through life first class. And Noel Coward did that. And so I look at that every day in the kitchen cupboard when I go there to get my cup for morning beverage. And I see Noel Coward's quote there. And it's like a great reminder to me about, that I do not subscribe to that thinking that I am a worm of the dust or that I am unworthy or I am not held in high esteem by the divine. And I get to decide. I get to be an active, co-creative participant in this game of life. And I am determined to go through life first class. Now, Socrates, long ago, said that a state of grief or anxiety would attract sickness, waste of property, and death. So what he's talking about is that what we're holding on in the inside, if we hold on to it long enough, it will start to show up out here. So we have to speak the right word. Not just any old word, but we have to speak the right word. And if you do so repeatedly, light illumination on the principle involved will be revealed. It's that idea we've talked about that if you love something, it will start to reveal its secrets to you. Right? So I remember when my brother and sister and I, when we were kids, and we got to that grade, I don't remember where it was, I think it was around maybe 3rd or 4th grade, where we had to learn the multiplication tables. And so there was sort of a ritual in our house. In the late afternoon or after supper, my mother would iron. Remember ironing? Boy, I really date myself with that, ironing. Now, if I have to iron it, I throw it away. I don't want to, but she would be there at the ironing board, with the basket and this funny bottle that shook out water onto the clothes, and she would iron away. And she would quiz us on the multiplication tables. And we would do this again. Now, probably you've done a similar thing with your children. We would do this again and again and again and again. And so part of it is, we'd look at it first, and practice it ourselves, and then we'd say it, and then we'd hear it. And what happens is, at some point, it finally goes in. And it's like we understand it, and it makes sense to us, and it's like, yes, this is how we live our life. Why was I telling you that? I'm trying to think. Hold on. It'll come back to me in a second here. Well, about our right. So anyway, so this is all about how we're creating, right? So in the science of mind, people always are saying, well, I don't know. I mean, do I create my life or do I not create my life? And we say, well, it's kind of a co-creative dance that we do with God. I don't think we make stuff so much happen as we become a consciousness, a place where we welcome things, where we allow things, where things happening are the most natural consequence because of how we are on the inside. Right? So when somebody says, oh, nothing ever works out for me, they will find that that is largely their experience of life, because when they say that, they say it with such commitment. And they're thinking about all the times in life when things did not work out for them. right? And it becomes like their personal law. That's how they believe the universe works for them. Things never work out for me. I'm always disappointed, right? It's like, wow, there's something that needs to change right now. Right now, anytime between now and right now would be a good time to change that, because we're involved. We're involved in that unfoldment. So do we have the power? Well, Ernest Holmes teaches us that yes, we do have power in a sense that we have an influence into our experience of health, our experience of relationship. We have an influence into our experience of abundance. You know, that there is this infinite power, this infinite presence, this infinite principle within us. And it seems to me that people don't really understand how to manage it, how to work with it in the most intelligent way. We don't always believe it. You know, we don't always believe that I'm involved in the creation of this. And now, I think it's an oversimplification to say something like, oh, well, your negativity caused your problem. I think we've evolved beyond that. That might have been what they thought in the 1920s, okay, when mental science was really just coming onto the scene. But the idea, the whole principle of creation is a huge principle. We could do a 30-week class on it and not touch all of it. But I will say this, that there's no superstition involved in this. Ernest Holmes was very clear. He was not a superstitious kind of guy. At least he didn't include any of that in the teaching of the science of mind. So if you think it's so easy, people say, well, I don't understand what the big deal is. You know, it's pretty easy. You just think about what you want and the universe provides it. If you think it's so easy, then why don't you demonstrate it in a greater way, is what I would say. Right? You know, because if every single area of your life is working so well, like you are stupidly abundant, you have more love than you can possibly handle, you are healthy beyond mortal belief, like you can do 2 Ironmans in a day, you know, I mean, if you're that kind of healthy, then I want to talk to you after church and see what you know that I don't know. But I think if we don't learn to manage our own power, this power that is within us, first of all, someone else will. And they will manage it for their good, not for your or my good. Let's be really, really clear about that. So the power to create, I think there are a couple of aspects of this that are really essential. And one is in our own clarity. Now, I often ask people, what do you want? And they will give me a huge list of what they don't want. But they're not very specific about zeroing in on what they really, really want. So I think that clarity, you know, we know this statement, clarity is power. Ernest Holmes said somewhere that if he had only one treatment, if he had only one prayer, his prayer would be for clarity. He understood how much power was involved in when we have clarity. So think about this. What do I want? And why do I want it? Why do I want it? And what quality of God will be in expression by my having that? See, that's really important, I believe. And then, of course, another aspect of this is our ability to accept. Our ability to accept it. You know, so here's how I think it works. We say into the universal mind, we give a treatment or we start to affirm, and we say, I desire this thing, or I desire this experience, or I desire this state of consciousness. You know, I want to be more peaceful. I want to be more loving. I want to be more forgiving. It doesn't have to be that you want a refrigerator, but if you want a refrigerator, that's fine. Okay, really it is. It's absolutely fine. And so we speak that prayer, and the universe starts to respond. How does the universe respond? The way God gives to us is God gives to us through the realm of ideas. So ideas are going to start to come to you. They're going to be little intuitions. Ernest Holmes says intuition is God in humankind. You're going to get a hunch. You're going to have a little aha. You're going to have an inkling about something. But little insights are going to start to come to you because that's the way God gives to us. God gives to us in the realm of ideas. Now, can I take what is given? Can I receive what the universe gives me without sabotaging it? See, because I think we all create. I think we all have the capacity to influence the conditions in our life, but it takes, here's what it comes down to. Now, if you ask me something tomorrow, I may have a different answer. But this is really where I am today with this, is that it takes discipline. Not just the I want. Oh, universe, I want this. You know, that has not been very successful, tell the truth, right? That has not worked very well. It's not just about want, it's not wishful thinking. You know, Ernest Holmes says this in a textbook. We do not teach a wishful thinking philosophy. If I say in all earnestness when I pray, all right, God, help me with this, help me, show me what I need to do, show me how I need to be, the universe responds just like when you download something on your computer, right? Stuff starts to come in. And you and I know when someone or something in our life is really not in our best interest, don't we? We all know that. We get that, right? And so often, though, we don't pay attention to it. You know, we don't listen to it. We don't accept it. Now, I'm not saying you're going to like what the universe gives you. See, and I think that's how we sabotage ourselves. We say, oh, God, I really need help with this spirit, universal power, presence of love that's everywhere. Show me what I need to do to heal my body. Show me what I need to do to heal this relationship. Show me what I need to do to prosper. And we sit there, and it comes to us. And we go, oh, don't you have anything else? That was clearly not intended for me. You meant that for somebody else who's meditating down the block, right? So I think part of it, honest to God, is that we have to have the discipline to listen and then accept what comes to us. We have to hear it. Okay, don't like it. Fine, you don't have to like it, right? And either do it, right, or know that in not doing it, you are actually sabotaging yourself. So when we pray with such sincerity, God, help me. Help me heal this relationship. Help me prosper. Help me heal my body. And we don't follow what we're given. It's like you're telling the universe you really don't want to be involved in creating your experience of life because you're not doing what's been given, right? I think we want to create, but we don't want it to be inconvenient. I think we don't want it to be embarrassing. We don't want it to cost anything, you know, like too much of my time or anything like that. You know, I don't want to. I want to have great healing in my life, but I don't want to have to change anything. You know what I mean? You know, because I kind of got a schedule that I like to follow, and it kind of works for me. So I create it. Doesn't work because I think we are undisciplined. So, you know, I think it's funny because I cannot imagine that my grandparents sat around, you know, that they arrived in America from the old country and they sat around saying, I can hear my grandmother saying to my grandfather, so Morris, do you think we create our own reality? You know, that didn't even enter into their consciousness back then. You know, they'd never even, so this is a recent thing, a recent phenomenon in the evolution of our consciousness, that we are involved in creating we have input into creating our life experience, but it doesn't work. Now hear this, it doesn't work because we are undisciplined. This doesn't mean you're bad, it doesn't mean I don't love you, it doesn't mean God doesn't love you, it just means you're not following the guidance, and I don't follow the guidance that I'm given. We just don't want to follow that guidance. Because I believe that the power to create begins with the ability to first perceive, to receive our guidance, you know, the instructions, and then do what it takes in my life to accommodate that guidance, to fit that guidance into my life. You know, so, all right, so recently I was dealing with an appearance of a cold. And we have danced together a few times in the last number of months. So I'm dealing with this appearance of a cold, and I sat down to meditate, and I said, oh, God, what do I need to do about this cold? I can't believe I'm having this again. Why is this experience back? Why am I having it again? So the first thing I hear is you didn't learn anything from it the last time. Honest to God, you didn't learn anything from it the last time. Okay, so what do I need to do? And immediately, like 3 or 4 things come into my awareness, you know? And so one of them is that I need to sleep a little bit more. I need to drink a lot more water. I need to cut way back on sugar. I mean, I guess this list comes into my head immediately. You know, sleep more, drink more water, cut out the sugar. This was not extraordinary stuff, right? This is like, you know, we probably all know this. We've probably all received this. And you know, other than the sleep part, I really didn't want to do any of it. I didn't. I mean, like I like to sleep, you know, sleep part's good, but, you know, do not mess with my food, really. You know me, you're going to mess with the food now? Is this what it's come to? And you know, it wasn't until I really started to follow what I'd been given that I started to feel better, that it went away. You know, and so it's like, oh, yeah, there it is again. Do what it takes. You know, we have to do what it takes. I have to change my life to accommodate the guidance that I am given. So if I say, God, I want the power to create health in this body, you know, I have to be willing to change whatever I am given to change. If I say, God, I want the power to create an abundant life, I have to be willing to change whatever it is I am given to change. And usually, I think how we respond. And I hear this back from people again and again. It's like, oh, no, that's too hard. I can't do that. God, don't you have anything else? You know, isn't there a pill for this or something like that? I remember when I've been traveling, I've seen big, beautiful paintings of the three fates. You know, and I've also seen sculptures. And so the idea of the three fates is that one fate holds the thread, your fate, the thread of your fate. One fate pulls the thread, and one fate cuts the thread. Now, Ernest Holmes says that our fate is not sealed in cement, that it's not kismet. You know, that we have input into how that continues to unfold and evolve. So one of the things I thought is really important with regards to this is how we create our sense of our view of ourself, how we see ourself. Do we know who we are as a spiritual being? Do we know that external things are fine, but they do not define us as a being? You know, see, I think it takes some work, especially in the world we live in now, to not let the illusions of the outer world penetrate you. You know, if you watch commercials on TV, you will feel bad about yourself. Really, you know, a lot of commercials will tell you that something external added to you will now make you okay. It will give you the skin of a 15-year-old. It will, you know, it will make your life so easy. It will make you extraordinarily desirable. You know, you will be on the brink of shuddering all the time because you're just so dippy with glee, you know. Because the world we live in, you know, we just live in a culture that's always telling us, you need this, you know, have this, buy this, and this is finally going to be the thing that's going to make you okay. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that stuff. You know, if you want to buy it, but know that you are okay whether you buy that or not. You know, that you are a spiritual being. You are an emanation of the Most High God. You are loved by God right now. You know, and so I don't think that anything outside of you, it just doesn't make any spiritual sense that something outside of us added to us is finally going to make us okay. You are okay right now. Maybe that's the big lesson of the spiritual journey, is to realize that who I am right now is okay. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. See, I think that creating is all about discernment. You know, that something comes into the discernment, I mean, is that we see something or we hear something and we say, I agree with that. I'm going to allow that in. Or we see something or we hear something and we say, no, that is not a fit for me. I do not take that in. That does not apply to me. I do not accept that. Right? So Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth shall make you free. So therefore, it means that we have to speak words of truth. And so words of truth that I like from Jesus are, you know, I and the Father are one. But if that doesn't do it for you, you can say, all of my needs are divinely met. Or God is so good to me all the time. If we just listen to the world around us, we're going to be terrified most of the time. We're going to think, oh my God, there's a draft. I'm going to be sick. You know, a draft does not make you sick. Really. 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 You say, well, there was a draft and I got sick. It's your thought. It's your idea about the draft. Your belief about the draft is the thing that makes you sick. See, because, you know, each word of truth that we speak is a setting free principle. Every time you speak words of truth, it sets you more and more free. You know, so one of the things I say is that, you know, I say if you want to become like Jesus, you know, if you want to have that consciousness that he had, you need to say the words he said. So say the Lord's Prayer. Say it 10 times a day. Say it 100 times a day. It's a lot better than a lot of what we say to ourselves. So I like Abraham in the Old Testament. And Abraham was quickened by trusting in God. You know, by really, really trusting in God as the only Spirit. And Abraham said that every dream and every vision he had was the word of the Lord. And I thought that was great, that he knew that all that came to him was that God was trying to speak to him. God was trying to reveal something to him that was going to be important for him and how he moved forward and created his life. So God is giving us all the information about what we need to do to create our life. Are we going to be disciplined and do it? Let's pray. So we turn our attention inward now, grateful to be together in consciousness, grateful to know that yes, indeed, God is all there is and we are one with God. So because I know we're connected on the unseen side of life, I speak the word for each and every one of us that yes, we get to co-create our experience with God. That yes, we have influence into the different structures of our life, our health and our relationships and our abundance and our creative expression. We have input into all of that. And I know that as we open ourselves and make ourselves available, that infinite presence reveals exactly what we need to do. And we are, as of right now, willing to do what we are given to do to move ourselves forward. I know that this is absolutely how it works. And then as we do that, more and more is given. So we include in our prayer today our family members and our friends and our loved ones. We know that right where they are, God is fully present. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world around us. So all of those things that are pulling at our attention, we say God is right there as perfect healing, as peace of mind, as all needs met for everyone involved. We bless our church and we bless all churches. We bless synagogues and temples and mosques and ashrams and all paths to God. And again, I absolutely believe that we are blessed, that we all get raised up just by being together in consciousness today. And so with a full heart, I give thanks and release this word, and so it is. Together we all say, Amen.